Yo, 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 what's going on, Game Changing Network? Another episode of Dante Dog Stories. And as you just seen, today we'll be talking about the difference between the American Pitbull Terrier and the American Bully. I specifically put Pitbull Terrier so the audience won't get confused when I'm saying American Bully and American Pitbull Terrier. Uh, that's the main thing. Today in this video, of course, we're just gonna break down the differences because I feel like it's often misled of what people are actually looking at or what to look for when trying to figure out the difference between the two. So I feel like I'm the perfect person to kind of give some advice on that and help a lot of people out and help them gain some knowledge as well. But to start off, of course, I want to thank 300cruisers.com for sponsoring this episode of Dante Dog Stories. Um, if you're looking for extravagant travel, 300cruises.com is definitely the way to go to plan your next trip. So, I want to thank you, 300cruises.com, for sponsoring this episode. And we're going to get right into it, y'all. Y'all already know, dog of the day. It's going to be the Great Pyrenees. Some of you may know what this dog is, some of you may not. Very popular breed amongst a lot of rural farm owners because of what they're bred to do. They're big, large dog. They tend to fight off wolves, coyotes, other small game that may like to get into things like foxes, like they like to get into like chicken coops, things like that. Um, these dogs are bred to basically protect livestock and also be a protection dog for the family and people as well. Um, so you'll see a lot of these dogs really in the farm area. People who have livestock, who need their livestock protected. These are typically the dogs that they usually go with because of what they were bred to do. Their very large stature allows them to defend off, like I say, small game, other dogs like coyotes, wolves, things like that. Um, that would typically come, of course, ruin livestock, ruin crops, and things like that. They protect the premises. So a lot of times, like I say, if you're in farm areas, you'll see a lot of these dogs because they're protecting the area that they're manning, that farm that they're manning. So very big dog. If you see them in person, they can get up to about 180 pounds easily. Very loyal dog. They are very good around children and families, but they know how to turn on real quick when they see somebody who's not supposed to be on the premises there. So very, very good dog. If you're looking for a Great Pyrenees, definitely do your research. It's not one of those dogs that you just want to get just because you like how they look. They come with a lot of maintenance. Very, very, very thick coat. So a lot of grooming if they're not going to be living outside in their natural habitat. Um, and a lot of exercise they'll need as well. So definitely do your research before going out and get one of these dogs because you have to be a special type of owner to want one of these dogs around. And we're gonna get right into the topic of the day. As y'all seen it on the title, the difference between the American Bully and Pitbull Terrier. One of my favorite topics to talk about in the dog game because um, it's kind of one of those things that everybody kind of gets confused early on with, and then when they actually learn it, it turns them into just a different, gives them a different outlook on each breed. So one thing about it, a lot of people tend to confuse the two because of the origins of them and how they came about, the regions for them, and of course the look of them. And I mean, we got to say that the media definitely plays a big part of how the pit bull and the American bully is viewed to the public eye. That's the main thing. The media plays such a big role that you can have so many people that's knowledgeable about it that the media is so big that the common person is still going to think whatever they've been told per the media. Or that's at least how it goes with this topic here. So I definitely just want to give some knowledge to help some people out who ever wondered about it. Me personally, I just had my mother ask me over the weekend, like, what's the difference? She honestly thought that the American Bully and the Pit Bull was one and the same. And even with me owning American Bullies, she still never really, this was her first time asking me basically. So this lets me know that you can be as close as to a dog breed and still not have the knowledge about this breed and the difference between the breeds, because sometimes it's not said or not spoken on, and people may already feel like they know um, what's going on as far as the American Bully and Pit Bull Terrier based off what they heard. So that's the main thing. But let's get right into it. Um, First things first, to have this conversation properly, I would have to start with the Pit Bull Terrier, only because the history and the bloodlines behind the Pit Bull Terrier is a lot. Um, it's a lot more richer. It's of course a lot older than American Bully. The American Bully really just came about the late '90s, early 2000s. The Pit Bull Terrier has been around for at least 100, 150 years. Um, and it's two distinctive types of um, histories. What the Pit Bull Terrier was actually used for, and oh, I'm back. What the Pit Bull Terrier was actually used for, and then what the American Bully is used for today. Like I say, it only makes sense to start with the Pit Bull Terrier, being that to actually get to the American Bully, you had to have the Pit Bull Terrier first. So first things first, again, I didn't put American Pit Bull Terrier just not to confuse the audience on what's going on, so they can basically decide between the two in their own way of how they want to view it. I feel like this is one of the easier ways because both of them do start with the American name. You got the American Bully and then the American Pit Bull Terrier. But like I'm saying, for this video, I want to stick out the differences. So I dropped the American off the Pit Bull Terrier, so you know, all right, when I'm speaking on American Bully or Bully, I'm talking about this dog. And I'm speaking on the Pit Bull Terrier or Pit Bull, I'm speaking on this dog. And to start off with the name, you see that terrier on the end of that American Pit Bull Terrier name. They come from the Terrier dog group. So one thing about the Terrier dogs, they are very, very, very high-driven dogs. When it comes to training, hunting, things like that, they are very in tune with their working side when it comes to any type of terrier breed. Even though we do domesticate them, they were bred for a purpose. So when you think about the Pit Bull Terrier, automatically think, okay, the Terrier is a working dog. They were bred for the purpose of working. What kind of work? Well, with the Pit Bull Terrier's history, it's a lot of different things. Of course, we know the Pit Bull Terrier being known for bull baiting, and that's simply what it sounds like: being in a bull ring with a ton-pound bull, and basically baiting them to use their horns to try to get at them. That way, the pit bull could boom lock onto the nose of the bull and hang on as long as possible, without trying to get hurt. So that's initially one of the works that a pit bull terrier did. That's what they were used for. Just like bulldogs are also used for bull baiting as well. Um, it's in their blood. The bulldog is a part of the breeds that make up the American Pit Bull Terrier. It just makes sense. So the Pit Bull Terrier history starts as early as then, and when they were being used for then. And then they kind of evolved. Of course, you go through that history and time period where they became the nanny dog, the dog that would actually be the nanny for the kids at said home in America. And you see, that's why they got the American Pit Bull Terrier name, because it became iconic for the American Pit Bull Terrier for the being families and to be that nanny dog for that family. And I mean, like being around kids as young as 2, 3, 4, 5 years old and watching those kids. They were also used on farms as well. That part of their history is not recognized, but the same thing they would do As far as being a nanny dog, they were doing in the form as well. And shout out to everybody liking the video and loving the video. We got a couple of folks tuned in, so I definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. Y'all keep liking the video, share this content, go on YouTube, subscribe. Gang Channel Kennels on YouTube and Gang Channel Kennels on every other platform as well. But their history starts as far as then. So when you think about it, they were kind of their history itself changed very vastly, very quickly. Again, they were used in baiting rings. Then they became a nanny dog. And then, of course, even within that time period with the bull baiting prior to the nanny dog part, they were still used in dog fighting rings as early as then, just because of the physique of the dog, the drive of the dog, and the biting power of the dog. The pit bull terrier definitely has one of the, if not one of the strongest um, bites per square inch in the dog game. So, um, I mean, massive, massive biting power. I'm talking about dogs that really get after it. And if you've seen videos, you know, pit bull terriers are nothing to play with. They come from what most dog breeders call as gang dogs. That's the origins of the pit bull terrier. When you got more gang blood, you got more terrier blood. As a gang dog breeder, that's what you want, right? And this becomes the difference between the bullies and the terriers, because the bullies, like I say, came around late '90s, early 2000s, where dog fighting wasn't uh I ain't not gonna say the thing, but it wasn't done like how it was 100 years ago. So now you got it to where people are breeding these pit bulls to create this American bully to keep the physique, the muscle, and the head structure, which is that block square structure on the dog, but they want it in a much bigger frame. So, of course, they went into the lab to try to figure out how can we create this dog to have this same tenacity, this same just drive, and this same kind of physique and look as well, but with bigger bone, with bigger skulls, with broader chests, um, bigger shoulders. These are all the types of characteristics that breeders kind of early on, from my research and my history, was looking for to create the American Bully. Of course, for the terrier side, they just wanted to create that drive and that look. That was the main thing. And from what I've seen and how I've talked to different breeders, that was the main thing that kind of differentiated as far as when the breed started moving forward, because the breed for the American Bully actually started being bred also not only for size but for temperament, but, making it a more docile breed, meaning you can have this dog around family members, kids, just like the pit bulls were used for as nanny dogs. Um, but like again, on a much larger scale, on a much larger frame. So basically, they wanted a pit bull that's extra large, but with a teddy bear, just type of feeling whenever they're around you. They want them to feel relaxed, laid back, cool, not doing what the pit bull or terrier was originally bred for. Um, so that's where the I guess like the mistakes start coming in when it comes to the breedings. Because if you really don't understand the bloodlines of the game dogs and things like that, and early on when they were trying to bring that over into the bully side, then you have incomplete breedings, because you may have one dog that may look a certain way, and then you have a dog that's smaller than that dog, all within the same breeding. Then you might have a temperament on this dog that may be a little bit more docile compared to the temperament on one of these dogs, still may be a little hot. And that's where you kind of come into like people not really locking in on the characteristics of what they really wanted out of the dog. So you find a lot of times that with this mistake breeding going on, it's putting it out there to you, usually like your neighborhood breeder. When you run into them, this is the new thing, this is the hot thing that everybody's doing. Like I said, going away from the dog fighting, Now they're going into the bully realm, and these dogs have been bred for a whole nother purpose, but they're not really having the knowledge of how to teach the people around them what they're breeding or what the dog is, because they're getting so much inconsistency between the breedings because it's a new breed. And then, of course, you have a standard that came out for the American Bully, or the most popular standard for the American Bully, which came out in 2004. And if you look at the standard of the American Bully, especially today, I'm sure definitely back in 2004 is a lot different because it was just new to the scene. But if you look now on what the standard is, it gives you a clear distinction of, okay, American Bully will have this, and this. And if you actually took those characteristics and compared them to a pit bull terrier, you can clearly see that it's two complete different constructs of how the dog is built, the look of the dog, the sizes that the dog come in, and the classes that the bully comes in, opposed to the American Pit Bull Terrier not coming in those same classes. Um, and if we're just speaking on bloodlines, it won't compare because, again, the Pit Bull Terrier has been around for 150 plus years, opposed to the American Bully that's only been around for 20 years. The bloodlines on the Pit Bull Terrier are just going to be more stronger. They've been around longer. They've been bred a lot longer. And I'm talking about real game blood. I'm not just talking about, well, let's get this understood. Of course, there's no such thing as a red nose or blue nose. Yes, that's a way to say the color of a dog and what you see as a red nose or blue nose dog. But when it comes to bloodlines and things like that, you won't look at any dog's pedigree and see a red nosed dog unless that's the name of the dog. That's not a bloodline. Red nose is not a bloodline. Blue nose is not a bloodline. And when I speak on like game bloodlines, I'm thinking about, um, you know, Eli, Kobe, Jeep. I mean, it's plenty of bloodlines, and all my dog breeders know the game bloodlines. Or if they into game dogs, they know the game bloodlines. But it's a completely different set of bloodlines opposed to what you'll be looking at on the American Bully bloodlines. Yes, you will find some old school blood on some of these American Bullies because, like I said, they were you. This is where the dog originated from, taking the pit bull physique and mixing it with what we believe is like a master of a bully type breed to create the American Bully. So, uh, dating back to history, it shows as an American Staffordshire Terrier and a Pit Bull Terrier being bred to create what we now know as the American Bully. But just based off my own knowledge and what I see out of the dogs, I just feel like those two dogs in particular, I feel like it had to be a lot more dogs being brought into the equation to create the American Bully because of how inconsistent the blood is and how inconsistent the litters that I've seen, not only myself, but other breeders have. And this is the biggest thing about the bully game right now that I feel is lacking in. It's the blood is not consistent enough. And when I say consistent, if you look at a German Shepherd's breeding, it's no question that those are German Shepherds. When you look at a Rottweiler's breeding, it's no question that those are Rottweilers. The characteristics all match up the same way. When you have American Bully breedings, you have things that fluctuate between the breedings based off the dog they were bred to, right? But usually when you breed to a like I was saying, if you breed a Yorkie to a Yorkie, you're typically going to get Yorkies that you can look at and can tell those are Yorkies. That's the main thing about it. I'm sorry, I got some comments in here. Hard mouth dogs for the win. That's right. Shout out to Joe Vega on Facebook, man. That's right. Definitely agree with that. Some of that plumber alligator, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I definitely agree with that. And like I said, shout out to Joe Vega. He got some nice dogs over there. Don't know him personally. I only viewed his dogs through Facebook because I actually learned about him through some other kennel guys that I know. We got some very nice dogs over there. So check them out, Joe Vega on Facebook. But as far as back to the conversation with the bully, again, the bloods are not as consistent as the pit bull terrier in particular, but any dog breed because it's so new. And even with just how popular the bully breed is, it's one of those breeds that kind of took off very fast. And by popular demand, A lot of people got behind it. You see it today, especially a lot of people breed bullies or have a bully type dog that they want to breed because it's the popular thing to do right now, or it has become the popular thing to do. Like I said, it's been pushed by popular demand as well. Across the board, across the world, the American Bully is definitely the most popular dog breed in the world right now today. Um, I mean, that's no question. And you can understand how if speaking to somebody who's not in the dog game and not really understanding what all I just explained, just as far as just the bloodlines part, will look at a dog like an American Bully and just automatically assume that's a pit bull because that's the word that they know. People not really fond to the word American Bully. Again, the breed is only 20 years old itself. So you think that if somebody's 30 years old, um, then they obviously came into knowing the bully as a pit bull because that's what it was prior to the bully even coming on the scene. So you have to understand that a lot of people are going to get this confused, and it's not by mistake. Again, also with the media, and I can go ahead and tell you, the Michael Vick situation definitely plays a big part on the outlook of this dog breed because oftentimes the American Bully gets looped in with the Pit Bull Terrier, and for some reason, they just automatically equate that American Bullies were involved in the same dog fighting situations that happened 20 years ago. I mean, those dogs, I think all of them are long gone. I think they said the last dog out that yard died. But even just not that situation in particular, just after that, how the media, if you ever notice, anytime you see an article, and pay attention to this from here on out, anytime you see an article that says somebody has been mauled, attacked by a dog, and it doesn't say pit bull, then you know that no pit bull was involved or any pit bull type breed was involved in that dog mauling or whatever. Even if someone was to die, they still don't mention the dog's breed. The only time you see the dog's breed mentioned is when it's a pit bull. It's only when a pit bull attacked this or a pit bull killed this. That's the only time you actually see that name in an article. With any other breed, you don't have that. You don't see husky attacks person. You don't see Dalmatian bites someone on the leg, and these breeds do it just as much as a pit bull or American Bully breed does it as well. Um, and actually, it's probably more because typically, especially now, American Bully and Pit Bull Terrier breed owners are actually a lot more cautious than all the other breeds because they know what they have on their hands. And a lot of times when selling them to a customer, they let them know the same way because typically they don't want anything to go wrong. Simple. So a lot of times, again, when you see these news articles, they are trying to project simply a discrimination against the pit bull breed. And again, the American Bully, because not a lot of knowledge is around the American Bully, is looped into that same pit bull look and name, which completely throws off the public, completely throws off anybody trying to learn about the breed because they may find things and say, hey, well, my dog does this and looks like this. And without the correct knowledge, they may believe that they have something they don't have. And I use myself for example. Everybody that knows me knows Levi. When I first had Levi, I marketed Levi as a game dog, a pit bull. And I'll bring up the picture back of Levi so y'all can see what I'm saying when I say this. So this is a perfect example. So I use this picture in particular for one reason. Because, I mean, if you look at Levi, most people that look at Levi say, hey, that's a nice looking pit bull, right? But he actually has a lot of bully characteristics. If you think about it, if you know the bully characteristics as far as the chest, bone density, the head, and the way he's structured is a completely different structure than how the pit bull terrier is actually structured. Even with the loose skin under his neck, you won't see a lot of that with a pit bull terrier. So for me personally, like I say, I started off actually marketing him as a pit bull because I didn't know the knowledge of the dog game. I didn't know the knowledge between the American Bully and the Pit Bull Terrier because of how I learned it. And of course, now I know what's going on, so I would never uh, speak of that knowledge again because that really wasn't knowledge, that wasn't facts, and it was wrong. So now that I know better, of course, I'm gonna do better. Therefore, after I found out and really did my research and learned, oh, my dog is not actually where I believe it is, I had to backtrack that. But it was easy because I wasn't going off of the standard that's provided to you that tells you, okay, this is American Bully and this is a Pit Bull Terrier. I was going off my own knowledge and some other backyard breeders and the local breeders in my neighborhood. At the time, I was 16 or 17 years old, so I mean, I was still young. So what I would do, I would ask them. They would tell me, "Oh, you got a red nose pit bull. Oh, you got this pit bull. You got this pit bull," because they really wasn't up on the knowledge of what an American Bully was. But once they look at the dog, they realize like, oh, that dog was only 5 months, and with that girth and that size, no way that somebody could look at this and say that's a pit bull who knows what's going on. Me being me, stubborn, I said, nah, I know what I got. Because for me personally, as a young kid, I'm feeling like I know my dog's a pit bull terrier because not only was getting this knowledge from other breeders and backyard breeders and other people, but at this specific time is when DDK's The Hawk came out and he was marketing that dog as well as a pit bull. And so me as a younger breeder, seeing the marketing he was doing, this is one of the biggest name dogs aside from the dog game, outside the dog game as far as a household name that I had ever seen. Him marketing that dog as a pit bull and me looking at my dog and thinking the characteristics were the same, the dog just wasn't as big, made me think I had a pit bull as well. And I completely was wrong. And again, now that I know the knowledge, I wouldn't even say some of the things I used to say because now I know. But I had to learn those type of things, and this is the type of things that plenty of breeders go through, especially if they didn't get the knowledge the correct way growing up. Because like again, the American Bully breed is a very new breed, so a lot of times your uncle, your dad, they're not gonna be able to tell you a lot about this breed because it was still in its early stages of being created. So it's not a lot of knowledge at this time. So you have to do your own research again and go out and find out why this is being said or what makes sense for this breed. Or you're just gonna do a lot of different digging around to figure out like, okay, the people with Terry come from this type of background, they were used for this. How did it automatically switch over to this? And then you say, okay, well, which bloodlines contributed to actually creating the American Bully? And then again, like I say, when you go into the American Bully's creation, you gotta understand that these dogs look completely different. The purpose of them is completely different. You got some people that use bullies for strictly designer dogs. You got some people that use bullies just for show quality, meaning they want um, bullies that can go out in the show and, of course, win a show based off their physiques and on what they are capable of doing. And then of course, when we get to the larger American Bullies like the XLs, it's the same thing. Um, you got folks that just want the biggest dog, biggest XL that they can possibly produce, and then you got some that want the most correct XL that you could possibly produce. It's a lot of different variations. And one thing I kind of explain to people when they ask, like, well, what's the difference in between American Bully? Because I know I got the pocket, I got the standard, I got this. Okay, easiest way to break that down is go on with another popular breed, like the poodle. If you're familiar with the poodle, you know you can get a large poodle, a standard poodle, and a toy poodle. Those are different classes of poodles. If you've seen poodles before, you know the big ones are obviously the large ones, the medium-sized ones are obviously the standard ones, and the smaller ones are obviously the toy-sized poodles. Same thing with the bullies. Based off the height of the dog determines the class of the dog when it comes to the American Bully. So when you're dealing with a shorter dog, you got your pockets, you got your standards, and then you got your XLs, of course, being taller in length. Even though these dogs come with a completely different look, because it takes a different dog to actually create each class. because of the characteristics they possess. So that's where the American Bully side gets very, very intriguing, because you could be looking at a pocket dog and then you can say there's no way that whatever in that pocket can create some of these XLs. Even when you breed them together, like I said, you'll see the inconsistencies between the bloods, the litters, the brothers and sisters. You'll see all the differences between them and why it doesn't make sense. You may have a couple of dogs that come out looking lovely, like dogs that you can't resist. You gotta have. That's true. But on the other end, you might have 3 or 4 pups that come out completely like how you don't want them to come out, or nothing of what you thought they would look like. And I've seen that happen plenty of times. So a lot of times what I tell people is, when you're looking at an American Bully and it's been promoted, 9 times out of 10, if it's a breeder, you're looking at the keeper pick. Now, if it's a customer and they're just starting their kennel and they have nothing else to use, then they might not be a keeper pick per se, but of course that's the pick that's been broadcasted the most. That's the main thing, and that a lot of people get confused, because a lot of times you'll see people say, "Oh, I bought this dog," or "That's the brother of this dog," and folks look at the dog and like, "There's no way." In the bully world, you can have that because of the inconsistencies of the blood. That way, when you're looking at a certain dog within the same litter, it can look tall and muscular, opposed to another dog looking very short and could be skinny as well, like a terrier, because the blood is still within the breed. And the way that the breeding works within the generations of pedigrees, each dog can show different characteristics within those puppies, because it's just like a family tree of a human. Of course, you might have a kid that say, "Oh, that kid look like his granddad," or his great granddad has characteristics of his great granddad. Well, of course, he looks like the mom and the dad, but you'll have those times where he may look like the uncle, or he may look like the aunt that's on a certain side of the family, or they may have a certain genetic within the family that passes down to in the family. That where you say, "Oh, that person got they got a whatever kind of mark to make them distinctive to that family, whether it's they got a nose that the family distinctly has, or whatever it may be." But same thing with the dogs. Certain characteristics come back out within the dogs within the pedigrees. So it may be a granddad or an uncle within the ped that looks a certain way that your dog takes after, because that's how the blood works. Again, that's typically just with the American Bully. Now, when you come over to the Pitbull Terrier side, it's a lot more consistent. So when you're dealing with the consistent bloodlines of the Terrier breed, now when you're breeding with a much more consistent balance, to the point where those dogs come out, they look like American Pit Bull Terriers. You don't have ones that are crazy freakish big and then ones crazy freakish small. They typically come on a short range, a short window of looking the same, because the blood is stronger. What they were bred for, it was locked in. The consistency was locked in. A lot of line breeding is done. A lot of inbreeding is done to get the blood so tight that when they do breed and they bring out certain characteristics, they come out every single time. Um, Again, bite power is certain dogs within the pit bull terrier community that was known just for strictly their bite power. Meaning, when they hit another dog, they slice them and dice them up as soon as they hit them, because of how strong they bite. So, of course, if I'm at this time doing things like dog fighting, right? And I'm breeding my dogs to fight other dogs, then that's a characteristic that I want to hone in on, because I want to be able to use that to win dog fights. Makes sense. So you have to be knowledgeable about the bloodlines to understand, okay, if I look at Plummer's alligator, I know that's a, a bloodline or a dog that has one of the strongest biting powers, and he comes off this bloodline. That bloodline is producing whatever it is to create these jaw muscles to constrict in a way that creates this dog to have massive, massive pounds of pressure when it comes to his bite force. Now you see breeders doing line breedings and inbreedings to get this same blood onto their yard because of that specific characteristic they're trying to carry over. And they know that within the bloodlines, it's so consistent. If I breed this correctly, each dog should come out that way. And that's actually the way that the bully is supposed to be bred, but it's not being bred like that because it's being bred for a lot of different things, a lot of different things getting mixed in on the bully side. So typically, you'll see somebody wanting to bring out certain bully characteristics, but they'll breed to a terrier dog because of the way they know. Okay, if I got a terrier, the only way to make it bigger in size is just to breed it to a bigger dog, which is likely to be a bully. So a lot of times, what you'll see is a large male American bully being bred to a small pit bull terrier, and then you still get certain dogs that come with bully looks, and then you get some dogs that come with pit bull looks, and pit bull looks that are exaggerated at that. So that's when even more confusion comes behind what's the difference between the breeds, because when a when a when a customer comes and buy that dog, I can only imagine what the breeder is telling them they're buying. But if it's going based on what the media is projecting anyways, he's likely going to tell that person they're buying a pit bull, which is incorrect because that person probably doesn't know what the difference is between a pit bull terrier and an American bully. And they're only giving credit to the pit bull side that they see on the dog, which is the physique, 9 times out of 10. And it's usually not the temperament or anything else that consists of what makes an American bully or what makes a pit bull terrier. So that in itself becomes a huge problem. And one way we have to fix that as breeders is just by being knowledgeable about what's going on. Um, I hate when I come across a breeder and they're not knowledgeable about this specific topic, because this is one of the ones that can make or break the community. For one, being that um, it is so much discrimination against the two, but knowing that the bully completely takes all the slack because it wasn't even bred to do what the pit bull terrier is being chastised for. The pit bull terrier is being chastised for just being itself, just being a freak of nature, being a dog that can literally um, go against anything. You know, the pit bull terrier is a great way of describing David and Goliath. Um, no matter how small the pit bull terrier is, they won't give in or give up to anything or anybody. So that's the main thing about them. They are grit. They get after it. The American Bully, not so much. More laid back, docile type of dog. One of those dogs that you can have in your home and they're gonna lay up under you, lay on your feet, keep your feet warm. You know, a pit bull terrier do that too because they're very loyal, but they like to work. So they trying to get you up out the seat. They trying to get you up in the outside to do something with them because that's the type of mentality that they have. And when you mix these two type of breeds, for one, again, you have inconsistencies within the bloodlines, inconsistencies within the temperament, and just furthermore, you have more confusion that you'll be putting out into the dog game and the dog community because the customer doesn't know what they're getting. Essentially, they're going based on what you're telling them, and what you're telling them is the incorrect information. So I always hate a breeder that doesn't know the information about this. And I'm not gonna say hate a breeder that doesn't know the information, because if you're a younger breeder, you definitely get a pass. But if you like 35 plus and you talking about red nose, blue nose, man, hey man, I'm gonna have an issue. You know what I'm saying? Just because I feel like if the younger guys can definitely get on board and do their research and realize the difference between a bully and a pit bull terrier, then definitely the experienced breeders should definitely get on the same page and not just be telling somebody that they're buying a pit bull just to make a sale. Actually explain to them the difference between an American Bully and a pit bull. And a lot of times, a lot of breeders, what I've seen, they're scared to say that their dogs are American Bully based or American Bully because they feel like the buyer may not want that dog because they're not really hip to what's going on. because the buyer said, well, I don't want no American Bully, I want a pit bull. And a lot of times the buyer may just want an American Bully. They just don't know that they're actually looking at an American Bully. This may just be on the XL frame. And then because a lot of times the buyer think bully, oh, that must be one of those small, compact, deformed dogs. And that's what you get when you got the exotics, and that's being pushed as the bully breed. And then you see the pockets, which is actually a smaller, muscular dog compared to the pit bull. And you can look at it and tell like it's two totally, completely different breeds. But you have to understand that the American Bully has classes, which means, again, this person may still be looking at American Bully, but in a different class opposed to the pit bull terrier. Because a lot of times when somebody sees a pit bull, an actual pit bull terrier in person, they're not impressed because they automatically think the dog is supposed to be bigger than what it is. Pit bull terriers really don't get above like 60 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're on some of these game yards, they're not even getting up to 50 pounds with some of them, especially not the females. They are lean, mean machines. Like they are kept lean for a reason. Um, and you'll see that these dogs just physically don't compare into what the American Bully is supposed to be. It just doesn't match up. The girth of the dog, the bone of the dog, the skulls of the dog, the chest of the dog, it just doesn't match up. And then again, like I said, once you get into the temperament of the dog, you'll see a pit bull is going to act more naturally into what it knows to do. American Bully is going to do the same, but the natural capabilities of a bully is not much because they really weren't bred to do much. They were bred more of a designer dog. They were bred more to be of a dog that's going to be in a family-oriented place because they are more docile. They are more laid back. They are a bigger dog. That's what they were bred for. They really weren't bred for a working purpose. Yes, there are some bullies that are used in working purposes, but that's not what they really were bred for. You see what I'm saying? Of course, they have the physique and everything that comes with them, and you definitely can find some bullies with the drive and they're bred correctly. But typically, you won't see too many bullies out here doing work and stuff, especially in the pocket class. I can't really give in for the standard class because there's definitely some standards that can get out here and work. But even the same with them too, they're not really used for working purposes. They weren't really bred for working purposes. If you think back 20 years, what thing could a dog have done for humans that would have just tremendously changed the outcome of things? I mean, that was the transition into the internet. So dogs weren't of use like how they were used on farms um, to protect in wars. The purpose of a dog just wasn't the same. So the reason that they were being bred just wasn't the same. Of course, you have a lot of these older breeds who have been domesticated very well to not really tend to like lean into their jobs or what they were originally bred for, but they still have it in them. Just like a Labrador. You take a Labrador retriever out to the lake, you throw some in the lake, they go fish. Their natural instincts are going to kick in because that's how strong the bloodlines are. When you have a Rottweiler, it's a reason why you can have a Rottweiler at your home and not tell them to do much, just show them the boundaries of what's going on. And I promise you, if they see a stranger or somebody that doesn't typically live in the home come up to the house, they'll catch on that, hey, I need to start alarming somebody that somebody's here that we don't know. It's a natural instinct because it's within that dog's bloodline. The same thing with a terrier. If you get a terrier, in a way and train them up in a way to really get after it and make them hot, I promise you, you put them in a dog ring, they're gonna do what it was bred to do. It only makes sense. The same thing with a bully. If we continue to breed the bullies consistently to the point where everybody's saying and everybody's on board and on page as far as saying, okay, this is what the bully is for. The bully is for this, this, and this. And this is what we're gonna stick with. This is the breed that we feel like we're gonna bring to the forefront as the American Bully. We'll start getting more consistent bloodlines. And I feel like that alone will completely separate the difference between the American Bully and American Pit Bull Terrier because if done the right way, there's a clear distinction between the two. Clear distinction. There's no way possible you can look at an American Bully and assume it's a Pit Bull Terrier if bred correctly. There's no way possible that you're looking at an American Pit Bull Terrier and we can't assume that they're bred correctly because Pit Bull Terriers' bloodlines go so deep that we know that they, on that end, They know what they're doing. We can't disrespect. And this is another thing for a lot of breeders. A lot of breeders coming into the game, they tend to disrespect the game dog world because they don't know about it. But in retrospect, the game dogs laugh at the American Bully blood because they know it's not consistent as it's supposed to be to get the products that we are wanting to get. The game dog sector is a sector that's like a coat, and they got it figured out. Those bloodlines over there are consistent. They are tight, and it's for a reason because they know what they're doing. They know what they look for. It's a science for them. Like I said, that game was bred specifically for that reason. So when these guys get locked in, like I say, they work together. They go into other people's yards and say, "Hey, I need your blood because that blood there is gonna make this dog better." We typically don't have that in the American Bully game, and that's why we run into all these inconsistent breedings, and that's why we have all these confused buyers because we don't have one set vision. So therefore, when you're looking at the American Bully breed, and you're saying, "Okay, I like this dog for its color," right? The color of that dog don't make that dog by standard American Bully. And that's the problem. Because now if you look at the game now, you see we got the Murray color that just took over. But just because of the color. So whatever they introduce into the bloodline that they say has been around all of a sudden, because nobody was breeding Merles, but now all of a sudden it's been around for years and everybody's been doing it. They're just coming back out. Cool. You know, the American Bully breed only 20 years old, but for some reason, the Murray Bully within the last 3 years is making a comeback. Hey, like I say, something was brought into that blood to bring that Murray gene in, and it's gonna produce you a whole different set of dogs. Of course, you're adding on to the Bully blood, but the Bully blood itself wasn't strong enough to, I feel like, hold the Murray gene. Yes, you will get some lovely Bully Murray dogs. But like I explained earlier in the video, that's typically going to be off your keeper picks. That's typically going to be off your keeper picks. You can tell somebody to show you a Murray litter. Tell somebody to show you a litter with Murray puppies, and let them see all the litter mates within that litter. And then you for yourself choose, okay, how consistent that dog is coming. And shout out to everybody that's liking the video and loving the video as well. I'll take a quick break to shout out to 300cruisers.com. If you're looking for extravagant travel, definitely check out 300cruisers.com. And as far as the American Bully, when we're bringing in these new things like the Merle coat and somebody just breeding for color, as they say, you run into these issues. If you go to a game dog yard and you start talking about blue dogs, I don't know no real game dog man like they just want blue dogs on his yard because he knows that blood, for whatever reason, I don't know if it makes a dog cur, if it just sends the temperament off the dog. I've heard a lot of different stories, but real game dog breeders, they don't want that blue gene on their yard. And that's one thing you can definitely see between a Pitbull Terrier and an American Bully, where people get confused because of the red nose, blue nose conversation. So you hear somebody say, "Oh, that's a blue nose," and they say, "Oh, it's a blue nose pit." But the Pitbull Terrier bloodline comes off of game dogs. If you go to a game dog yard, they don't want blue dogs. So it doesn't make sense at all. The history gets discombobulated because people are not really teaching what they're supposed to be teaching. There's no such thing as a red nose, no such thing as a blue nose. But you got to do your research to understand these type of things and why it doesn't make sense. Like I say, whatever that blue gene is, for whatever reason, when it got mixed in, or if it was to get mixed in with that Pitbull Terrier blood, they realized that these dogs don't have nowhere near the drive that these other dogs have. Nowhere near as the just like that will not to give up and give in. One thing about Pitbull Terriers, if you watch a dog fight or have ever heard about a dog fight, the one thing that stands out about that is how long the dog fight actually lasts, just based off the sure will factor that the pit bull terrier is not giving up. I mean, if you think about that, it's literally the dog is knowing it's dying. It can't do nothing else. But it is literally just fighting for his life. Literally, it's fighting for his life. And the dog knows that and still has the will to just try to do with anything. And the tenacity behind that to try to overcome that type of adversity lets you know what type of grit this dog has and what's capable to be in this dog. And you see why when a game person say, I don't want that blue blood on my yard, because that blood doesn't equate to what I need to win in a dog fighting ring. This is the history of it. This is the history between the two and why it gets confused. A lot of people will tell you that a blue-nosed dog can still be considered a pit bull, but typically that's along your bully lines where you find that blue blood, because game dog breeders typically don't want blue blood on their yard for what it does to the blood. Simply the same kind of thing that the American Bully needed to actually consider doing. And that's why I say the game dog sector, they look at us and they laugh, um, because of the things that we do that they can clearly see it's pushing us back in time as far as what we want the dog to evolve to. Yeah, we have some very colorful looking dogs, good looking dogs, but the blood itself, with the tactics that the bully community does, it'll never move forward properly because we won't take the time out to really lock in with the breed and do what's necessary. So just like again with the murder blood, if you actually take a look at some of your murder breeders, you'll see it's certain dogs that just don't come out to the standard. It's for a reason. Yeah, that it's a color and it's basically a genetic, but it's something within that genetic that's sending the other genes not to fall in line the same way that it would if not being bred to a male. And I feel like personally, it's just because the bully blood itself is just not strong enough. Because I mean, the Merle gene is in a lot of other dogs, but you don't have the same inconsistencies. You still have dogs that look exactly like what they've been bred after. When you're talking about the Catahoulas, when you're talking about Great Danes, when you're talking about Aussies, when you're talking about Bulldogs, all other breeds, because they've been bred a lot longer, their history is a lot richer, their blood is a lot richer, they're not having these issues. They're not dealing with just keeper picks coming out of litter. They're having a whole litter of consistency, and they're throwing that one little piece of color on there, and they're still getting the same results because their blood is strong enough. Again, what I'm getting to is the confusion between the bullies and the pit bull terriers. I'm getting to the difference between the communities. I keep saying the game dog sector because I wanted to let you know that the ideal of somebody that's breeding pit bull terriers opposed to somebody that's breeding American bullies is going to have two different ideas because the dogs are bred for two different things. So keep this in mind when you're talking to your local dog breeder. This is important because when you go to your local dog breeder, if he's breeding those dogs just for looks and colors and things like that, you gotta understand that he may just be thinking bully. Now, if you go to one of your local dog breeders and say, hey, I'm taking this dog to a weight pulling contest, doing this, this, and that, that may be your pit bull terrier side. He's bringing those dogs for a completely different reason. So when you ask them, you gotta be firm with what you're asking them because a lot of this information does want concurrent because you had to use the pit bull terrier to create the bully, but at some point they had to split because again, there's two different types of breeds. They come completely different from each other. They were used for two different reasons. And like I said, you run into this problem a lot with customers because of what the media portrays the bully to be, and then what they've already projected out as the pit bull terrier is. And we already know the pit bull terrier has a stereotype for being aggressive. And again, by no fault of his own, the American bully takes fault of that, because when you see a pit bull, or when you see an American bully, you automatically assume that it could be a pit bull type breed based on how the media is explaining the breed is, and not really giving a clear distinction on what American bully is and a pit bull terrier, and just letting the people run with it. You get that confusion. You see a lot of times that even the game dog breeders will get mad because they see a bully breed that's fighting, and automatically it's labeled as a pit bull. They get mad because, again, a lot of your game dog breeders take very high consideration in keeping their dogs out from the public and getting out, or getting um, into any type of fight with any other dog in the neighborhood, because they know what their dogs are capable of. And a lot of times, with the stereotypes that the pit bull um, and the American bully hold, uh, typically nowadays, you got this discrimination that a lot of black people own pit bulls and American bullies. So therefore, when you look at it, it becomes an even bigger stereotype, because now you got the pit bull automatically been acquainted to crime, uh, or just used for the wrong reason because of their aggression. It's not by coincidence that that happened. It's not by coincidence that, because of that reason, the bully and the pit bull is the most popular breed in the world. And now you can understand why the media takes such a hard push at the pit bull and American bully, because they know exactly what they're equated with. And not to say that white people don't have American bullies. I know plenty of white folks that have American bullies, and I've sold to plenty of white people. But typically, you don't see the stories of white people having pit bulls in a quote unquote crime infested area. Just typically doesn't happen like that. You typically see, me personally, I typically see, when I see a pit bull and a white person, they're on commercials for shelters and things like that, trying to save the pit bull, quote unquote. And I'm gonna speak on that too. I feel like definitely, if you know somebody in the shelter, um, and you know breeders out in the community, y'all should want to connect, because a lot of times, um, a lot of these breeders have people who come to them for dogs and can't afford them. And then the same dogs that they are trying to save, that y'all saying are coming from these quote unquote puppy mills. Because a lot of times when I meet breeders, they're not trying to have a puppy mill because that actually causes them to lose money. Having a lot of puppies, having to feed them, causes them to lose money. And a lot of times the breeder realizes that somebody that never sold dogs or any type of product won't understand supply and demand. So it's not easy to sell any type of product. And the one thing about it, you want to create as low overhead as possible. If you got dogs on your yard, then you're losing money. So a lot of times the shelter push on to the media as well, or just out to the public, that every breeder is a puppy mill. Every breeder is just breeding to breed puppies to make money fast. You won't become a millionaire off of breeding dogs unless you create a dog that nobody else can get, and you sell it to somebody that's already rich, that just wants that one dog. But you will not become a millionaire off just selling puppies. It's not going to happen. And I feel like breeders understand this on a very high level, to the point where I don't think there are puppy mills, uh, how these people are putting out, especially not within the local community. I do believe there are puppy mills, but there are the people who are breeding those dogs for like pet land and things like that. The ones that already have breeders on call to call anytime. Okay, I just lost a Frenchie. I need another Frenchie, and they got a Frenchie that's 3 months old ready to put back in the store. That's where your puppy mill's at. But you never see the people in the shelter going after the folks at Petland. You never see that. They always go after your local breeders. And these are the people that need to connect with, because a lot of times you have a lot of pit bull type dogs or bully type dogs that come in that y'all already gonna label or mislabel as mutts and saying pit bull mix when typically they may not even have a pit bull or anything in them. And then you try to get them out to the public when your breeder may be sitting on 5 different people that can come save that dog from the shelter just because of the financial situation they may be in. So if you watching this, and I know I got some people that work at the shelters that watch me, and I know some people that I try to communicate with within the shelter, and I got my own rapport with the shelter here in my city. Um, but we should definitely, as breeders and as community workers in the shelter, we should start trying to link each other actually, because it actually would benefit us as a community as far as the bully breed and the pit bull breed. And if you're a true advocate for what you're saying you're doing, whether it's on the pit bull side or the shelter side, then this can only help the community because we're keeping dogs from being euthanized and we're building families without having to just go outside our means. It's right there. A referral. Hey, check out this shelter who has 3 or 4 dogs who are going to be on death row soon that you may possibly like. I've seen it happen all the time. And then also, we have to start explaining to the shelters, too, the difference between the American Bully and the Pit Bull Terrier. So these people are not explaining to these people the wrong ideas and the wrong things to keep these dogs from getting adopted. You'll be surprised how somebody would just dislike a dog based off how they look. If you've never been in that situation where somebody can look at you and not like you, then you won't understand. But for the folks that know, when somebody look at you and just don't like you just because of how you look, that happens a lot in the shelters. They want to see their dog die, essentially. Because they feel like, well, the breeder was only trying to make money off him anyways. Oh, this is an aggressive dog anyways. It never was going to make it in the home anyways. You know what I'm saying? So when you deal with those type of situations, us as breeders, which again want to teach the people at the shelters the difference, so they don't have this cloud over their head when they think about the breed and something they won't project onto people who's actually interested and actually learn about the breed, but get shut down by somebody who doesn't even care about the breed. This is how we're going to distinguish that the pit bull terrier and the American bully. That way, again, we can have the good knowledge of which is which. Again, because at this point they're looped in. There's a lot of different things that people get confused that without the breeder's knowledge, the customer is not going to know because then 9 out of the 10 they're not going to do the research. It has to be somebody that's definitely willing to do the research to want to go figure out, okay, again, why they call it American Bully, why they call it American Pitbull Terrier. They look the same. I heard they act the same. What's the difference? So in this video, I kept it as short as I could. I broke down a couple of different things. I know I didn't deep dive into as many details as people may have liked, but this is one of those topics that'll never be able to be addressed in just one full video because there's a lot of different factors. And of course, I'm going off the top of my head of what I know about the breed. So I'm just giving you the straight facts of how I learned it and my history and my perspective and my opinion on it based off the people I've talked to, the breeders that I've experienced it with, and my own dogs that I've actually owned. Again, I gave y'all the story of Levi, and then I transitioned into actually getting real American bullies and what the standard qualifies for. And then when breeding those dogs, what I was able to produce as far as the standard. And then also coming up short as far as what I was able to produce because of the blood being so inconsistent. Not necessarily that the dogs were bad dogs, but when I look at a litter, and like I say, if I can look at a Rottweiler litter and know, okay, that dog, it's all Rottweilers. I can tell they all got the spots here, got the coat here, this and that. Then I know Those are Rottweilers. And so I'm looking at these people, or excuse me, I'm looking at these American Bullies. I'm like, that one got an American Bully look like this, like an XL. That one got an American Bully like a pocket. That one got a pit bull frame. But I know it's American Bully because I just bred American Bullies. The inconsistency between the bloods kind of throws everything off to the point where when I'm selling to a customer, I have to constantly explain I'm selling you an American Bully because within that breeding, that dog may still come out looking like a pit bull. Regardless of what I may be telling that customer, if they're comfortable calling their dog a pit bull and don't know the knowledge of what's going on, they'll call that dog a pit bull. They own that dog now. So again, us as breeders have to kind of dig in on explaining this to the customer and what's going on. And then once the word gets out, the knowledge will become more vast to the point where this is the common knowledge. People are not calling dogs red nose and blue nose. People are actually learning the difference between the bloodlines. Because when you see a Boston Kennels dog, there's no way you should assume that it's a pit bull or a game dog. But it's a lot of people that don't even know what Boston Kennels is. So it's the things that you got to kind of do your own research on, kind of figure out yourself, kind of lock in with to really, again, understand the difference. If you're a regular pet owner, the reason I say the importance behind this is because of the issues that you're running into as far as how you're looked upon, as far as to the community. And I'm just talking about any local community. Of course, you may be walking down the street with a pit bull, and depending on the community that you're in, you're going to get a lot of head turns and a lot of different questions. And one of the biggest things you may get is that your dog is aggressive, especially if you have an American Bully. A lot of times you find yourself trying to explain this is not a pit bull, this is an American Bully. They don't possess the same characteristics and traits as an American Bully. But again, somebody that lacks the knowledge of what's really going on is still going to assume that it's a pit bull terrier at the end of the day because it looks like it. It's just bigger. They don't really, they're not really in tune with the temperament of the difference in that. They're not really into the standards and what makes an American Bully an American Bully. And a lot of times they don't care to because of what they heard, again, through the media, what this dog is. It's a complete turn off to some people to see some people with a dog like the American Bully or the Pitbull Terrier because of what the media says they stand for. I mean, that's just what comes with the breed. It's one of the dogs that is going to be looked bad upon. A lot of people that really don't know about dogs, but what a lot of people don't understand is this is business as well. So a lot of times you'll see insurance ask you now about aggressive breed type dogs. With of course pit bull and bully being at the forefront, at the very top. If you have a bully breed or pit bull type dog, especially if you're living in like a subdivision or something like that, you have to have homeowners insurance, something like that. If you have that breed, some insurances that won't take you, or they may charge you more to get the insurance because they're actually seeing that this is becoming a very popular breed. And this is one topic that I know I'll be touching on in the future, as far as the business aspect of the American Bully and the Pitbull Terrier, how it plays a factor, and how maybe 10 years ago, even now today, of course, when he talking about dog breed bans, the pit bull is amongst the highest banned dog across the nation. And it's even already banned in certain countries overseas. So when you think about that, especially when you're thinking about this dog having the name American in it, whether it be the American Bully or the American Pit Bull Terrier, but not even being liked in his own country, it gives you a kind of idea of what, of course, what America really is. Because that's not the first time we heard that. But as far as just the ban on the dog in particular, you'll see that it's kind of making a shift. You're seeing a lot of people starting to allow that bully breed and bully brand around because they're gaining the knowledge. They understand the difference between the American Bully and the Pit Bull Terrier. And then also they're losing a lot of money because of how popular the breed has actually become. So You don't have a lot of kids growing up saying they want a Dalmatian no more from the 101 Dalmatians. You don't have a lot of kids growing up saying they want a border collie like Lassie. You don't have a lot of kids saying they want a Great Dane like Scooby Doo. A lot of kids want them bullies now. A lot of kids want them American bullies. And because it's becoming the more popular breed, a lot of people are driving to go get them. And therefore, businesses like real estate companies, uh, apartment communities, they have to reconsider. But as a community, as a breeder community, we have to keep pushing this narrative and keep advocating for the breed, because just like that affects their business, it affects our business as a breeder to keep getting these dogs out. The more acceptable the breed, the better the business. And that should let you know something, being that this dog is the #1 banned breed across the nation, but still be able to create a lot of capital for a lot of people. Lets you know how popular the dog really is. That, like, if this dog had a complete different, if this dog was looked at like the Labrador or the Golden Retriever, if it had the publicity and the marketing behind the dog like an Air Bud, I promise you, the ticket will definitely go up on the bullies, and a lot more richer folks will have bully breed dogs. That's just a fact. Because it's a dog that can fit in anywhere. It's a dog that people, when you look at, you get a wow factor behind, because you don't see dogs of this physique, of this stature, and this pretty. One thing about the bullies, they can be real pretty. So it's one thing that stands out about them. But without, without the breeders taking the necessary steps of actually putting this information out to actually change the narrative of the breed, we're always gonna run into this issue, basically. So I definitely hope I dropped a lot of gems for a lot of different people who didn't know what was going on. Um, Definitely like, comment. Well, this video is gonna be over, so I no point in commenting. But like, share this video. Go to YouTube, subscribe to Gang Channel Kennels on YouTube. Of course, if you're watching this through my personal page, go to Gang Channel Kennels on my Facebook, like the page. We just got up to like 4 point something thousand followers, so I definitely appreciate everybody that's following on the Gang Channel page. If you're looking for merch like I got here, again, we just had that season 2 drop, so go ahead and get your pre-order in. We have some on back order now. We went on that load to drop, and we getting out the first wave of some of the merch that we just dropped out. Again, thank 300cruisers.com for sponsoring this video. And definitely want to appreciate the people that tuned in tonight. We got I think 10 people watching at one time. So that's a record for Dante Dog Stories. It's been about 2 or 3 weeks since this podcast, this network, this episode thing has started. So I definitely appreciate the people who take their time out and watch me. Tonight was definitely one of the earliest shows that we've done, and it went on at 9:45. So again, we did break a record in having people watching at one time. So that may be a sign. Maybe I'll start going live a lot earlier, being that people will be tuning in. Um, but it doesn't matter to me, because ain't nobody coming, and it's gonna be the same thing anyway. But make sure y'all definitely, again, watch on YouTube as well. Go back, check out some of the earliest parts of the shows if you missed it. If you're coming in at the end of the show, it's definitely, like, again, a lot of things that I was saying early on to kind of get to the point of where we got to. And like I was saying, I was going off the top of the head, so nothing's kind of like in chronological order. But let's break down the basics. The Pitbull Terrier, a lot more consistent breed of dog, bred for a totally different thing than what the American Bully was bred for. The American Bully consists of different characteristics and bred for a completely different reason than what the American Pitbull Terrier was bred for. Pitbull Terrier in size and stature is going to be a lot smaller, a lot more dense bones. You're still going to have the wide gator-like heads, and you're going to have a more tapered body. You're typically going to look like your athlete, like a real deal athlete, when you're talking about the Pitbull Terrier. And just, again, a lot more lean dog, a lot more smaller dog, typically shorter in height. Um, and then as far as the weight, like I said, it just won't compare when you're talking about the bullies. Uh, and then on the bully side, again, stature is it's going to be very large. Whether it's going to be pocket standard or the XL, they all are going to possess very muscular characteristics, very strong characteristics, defined, very girthy. Bone density is completely different when you're talking about the physique and the look of the dog. So that's the one thing that to to look out for when you see the dog out in the public. Does this dog have the physique of a bully, or does this dog have a physique of a pit bull? Then when you actually get into the background of things, again, when you're looking at the blood work of the dog, certain bloodlines come with the pit bull terrier that make it a pit bull terrier and the game bloods, which would mean go do your research on game blood dogs. Um, that way you can learn about different bloods and what they were used for, and catch up on the actual names that were used to create the best bloods. Then you switch over to the bully side, and you see the same thing as well. You look at the top bully kennels, who produce the best bully blood, and that's how you know, okay, so these dogs should come more bully-like because it's a completely different set of bloods opposed to the pit bull terrier side. A completely different set of history on the pit bull terrier side opposed to the American bully side because the pit bull terrier has been around for 100 plus years, the bully only 20 plus years. So when you're looking at the pit bull terrier side, you should see names that go back as far back as, again, the early 1900s. They have a distinctive history behind why they were bred. On the bully side, you have a distinctive history within the last 20 years that are usually um, more for things, like I say, for designer looks in a dog when you're talking about the bully. So if you got any questions that I wasn't able to address here in this episode, leave them in the comments or DM me personally. I had a lot of people DM me over the week and ask me a lot of different questions. I want to definitely shout out to the lady who reached out to me real quick. She had a lot of information that she wanted to get off, and hopefully I was able to help her. So this is kind of some of the things that I do. And I kind of show y'all or explain what she had going on right here. So she hit me up and she basically just said, um, and I'm not gonna say her name because I don't want her to feel like I'm going at her, anything like that if she's watching. Um, but it's funny because we covered some of this stuff in the video today. So it says, "Good morning. I came across your page. I have a 6-week old red nose or blue nose pit, which probably the person she bought it from probably told her, hey, this is a red nose, blue nose pit. So she put a slash blue nose. So that lets me know that whoever she bought that dog from is misinformed. It's not her fault, you know what I'm saying? Because she only knows what the breeder was telling her. So if he's telling her, hey, you have a red nose, blue nose pit bull, when really that's two different colors for one. And I mean, what are you basing that off of? I mean, are you basing it just off the dog of the nose? I mean, the nose of the dog? Like, what are you basing that off of? And typically people just based off the color, which again, why he's probably saying red and blue nose because it probably has a red nose with black spots or vice versa. And then when that dog gets older, the actual nose either turns completely red or completely black. So that's why you can see the the inconsistency behind telling somebody you have a red nose or blue nose dog because it may start off blue or what we call is blue, which is really black, and then turn red or vice versa. So uh say he's very clingy and cries constantly. Do you have any suggestions? So for everybody that's watching or watched, or everybody that knows me knows, really, I came into the dog game as a trainer. And the only reason I even got into the breeding is because I wanted to be able to train the best quality blood, the best dogs, the dogs that are supposed to be the most intelligent. So that's how I got into the breeding, actually trying to learn about different bloods, and that's how I learned that the bully blood actually is not consistent to the point where I can get the result that I would try to get as if I was working with another breed, because it's not really say a bloodline or kennel that is specifically bred to be trainable within the American Bully breed, opposed to other bloodlines. You have champions in working dog areas that their blood is specifically made for them to be trainable and intelligent. So Those was the differences. But it was a very good question that she had, because I feel like a lot of pet owners deal with this as far as their dog being clean or cries when they're crazy. So I want to put this out for anybody else that's dealing with this as well, because like I say, um, I feel like a lot of people go through this, and we had, of course, some more back and forth. And she kind of explained after my questions and basically what I asked her, like, what are you doing for the dog now currently? And I always tell customers, this is what I do, right? I can tell you to do something, but if I haven't done it, then when you do it and then you come back with more questions and I don't know how to address them, you're gonna look at me crazy. So I can only explain to you in the way that I've done it, and that's worked for me. So that's typically what I do for all my customers or anybody that's inquiring about being a customer. I just want to get some extra information. So with me, what I tell them is basically like number one thing is 6 weeks. Okay. I think I'm back. Let me get this right. Sorry about that for everybody tuned in. We're gonna try to get this technical difficulty right, and then we're gonna end this the right way. Y'all give me just a second. Oh. I know I had some people tuned in. I know they're like, where you went? I blacked out, man. My phone died. So we had to tap in on the other device. And now I don't even want to stay steady. It's been a good show. Yeah. Come on, phone. It's been a real good show, man. Oh no, that ain't it. That ain't it. Alright. So we're gonna get this like this. And we're gonna cut this one short. Cause this looking crazy. So man. Alright. So this was another episode of Dante Dog Stories. Definitely appreciate everybody tuning in. I didn't finish that last question before I went out. But if you have any questions, concerns, anything dealing with training, anything like that, please reach out to me. We'll definitely love to help. And for other news, should be going live tomorrow. So y'all definitely tune in again tomorrow. Being that a lot more people was on this time, I'll probably again be going live a lot earlier. So y'all be on the lookout for that. But definitely appreciate everybody. That's another episode of Dante Dog Stories.